Cheryl Mauldin, high-performance business coach, six-figure entrepreneur, and founder of Elite Women in Business. If it's okay with you, what I'd like to do today is just have a conversation, woman to woman, one-to-one, just you and I. But what I'd really like to do today is talk to you about where you are in life and where you'd like to go in life. I have been an entrepreneur since the age of 18. I started my first business at 18 with absolutely not one clue what I was doing. I was very young, inexperienced, and I had no business experience at all. And to say it was a failure would not be an over-exaggeration. I had my first daughter when I was 22 years old and knew at that time that taking my daughter through my struggles as an entrepreneur and trying to get this business off the ground were really not in her best interest and not what I should do. And so the one thing that I do know about you and I is our number one goal is to be a great mom. And it's to be completely focused on our family and to provide a stable life and a stable income for our family. So what I had done and what you have done is put all of those business ideas and dreams on hold. And it was a sacrifice that I made. It's a sacrifice that you made. And I know that you and I both did it willingly. It's not something that we regret. It's probably not even something that we would change. It was a number one goal to us to be there for our kids, to make sure that they had everything that they needed and all of the time and attention that we could give them. And so when I say it was a sacrifice I made willingly, it's because truly that's how I felt then and it's how I felt now. But if you're like me, deep down inside, you always knew that there was something more that you wanted to do, a business that you wanted to start, this crazy idea that you wanted to follow, but you knew that time just wasn't right now. In 2015, I was 49 years old in this corporate career. I was earning six figures, and like I said, it was a very comfortable life. It was a very stable life, and it allowed me to be very involved in my children's school activities. I'd also started another photography business on the side. That business was 10 years old at the time, and I really wanted to figure out a way to take that business full-time because that entrepreneurial dream and spirit inside of me was still very, very much alive. I just couldn't for the life of me figure out how to make that replace that six-figure corporate salary. And it was about that time that I started working with a business coach and a mentor. And my number one goal was to figure out how to replace that corporate salary with this full-time business. Because being a mom and a great mom was my number one career, I think the one thing that always held me back was fear. I think that over the course of time, I probably could have made that photography business replace my corporate income. I think there were a lot of business opportunities and ideas that I came across that would have worked, but the absolute one thing that always held me back was fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of what happens if this isn't successful, fear of what happens if I fail, what happens to my family if I can't make this work. And so if you're having those same thoughts, I absolutely understand that because I've had every one of those same thoughts and every one of those same feelings. It's very scary to think about leaving that stability and the comfort of that corporate career and just put it all on the line to chase down your dream. The more I worked with my business coach and mentor, the more I began to dread Monday morning. The thought of going back to that corporate career that I was so burned out with started on Sunday night. That dread would start to set in and I would start to dread thinking about having to go to work on Mondays, and it truly felt like a treadmill of just getting from Monday to Friday every single week and not being excited about that anymore, not being passionate about that work anymore, and it really just became a struggle. Then add on the fact that I had this side business that was actually very busy. It couldn't replace my corporate income, but it required a lot of hours. So I worked 40 hours, 9 to 5 in the corporate job. Then I would work another 40 to 60 hours in the photography business, and it absolutely consumed my life. It consumed all of my time. And even though it allowed me to be involved in activities at my kids' school, it didn't allow me any personal time. So I did not have financial freedom, I did not have personal freedom, and I did not have time freedom. And if I were going to be completely honest, my career and my business were running me instead of the other way around, instead of the way it should be. And so the more I worked with my mentor, the more I knew that something had to change. And I wasn't sure what that something was, but I was willing to keep investing that time and keep investing that money to figure out what that was. In 2015, my life literally changed overnight. The hospital that I worked for was sold to a new owner, and immediately a new reorganization plan came into place. And literally from Monday to Tuesday, life as I knew it changed completely. I went from the C-suite earning 6 figures to buried 3 layers down in middle management, literally overnight. And then the 40% pay cut hit. And I was comfortable. I was accustomed to that salary. I probably could have made it on 40% less income, but number one, why should I after 14 years of service? And number two, it definitely wasn't going to be as comfortable as it was yesterday. So I knew that at that point I had real serious decisions to make. Did I try to make this work and figure out how to live on 40% less money, doing a job that I really didn't care that much about anymore anyway? Or should I go find another comparable job in another company where I'd be starting from scratch? Or could I create my own future? Could I take those business ideas that I had and really make a path for myself and create this brilliant business that would give me financial freedom, personal freedom, and time freedom? So I took the skills and the knowledge that I had and started to form this idea for a business, for a consulting business. And I created a checklist and a plan. And within a week, I had a business model laid out of exactly what I wanted my consulting business to look like. And I had created a checklist that would take me from business idea to open for business. I began working through that checklist, checking items off as I went, doing the work. And within 2 weeks, I had it incorporated and was literally open for business. And it was on that day that I walked into work and turned in my resignation letter. And there was no more 9-to-5 corporate treadmill burned out career for me. And it was on that day that I took charge of my life. So what about you at this stage in your life? I know that you and I are very similar in that you had these dreams and you put these dreams on hold so that you could raise your family. And for that, I respect you and I admire you so much, because I see so much of myself in you. And at this stage in your life, we really start to have different thoughts. When your children start graduating from high school, especially that last child, when my last child graduated high school, I start to have thoughts even before my company sold. What do I want to do with my life? What is my life going to look like now? What do I want to spend my time doing? What's my purpose? What are my passions? What are other things that I could be doing instead of just grinding out this corporate job? I mean, and let's face it, when you go to work every day for someone else, what you're helping them do is create their dream, not yours. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. In literally one day, I saw that after 24 years of service in a company, all that experience I had, all those skills that I had, all the knowledge that I had, it really didn't mean anything. And I literally was starting over within a company that I'd been with for 24 years. So as we get that empty nest, I know that we start to have those thoughts. And then when you have a shakeup in your life like I had and the business reorganized, it really makes you think seriously about, what should my life be like? What could I make my life? And it was then that I decided to take charge of my life. So what about you now? What about now that your children are grown or they're about to graduate high school and start their own lives? Is now your time? Is now when you can take hold of your dreams? What happens if your company reorganizes or downsizes or goes out of business? Could you start over? Would you want to? I know all of those thoughts. I had every single one of all of those thoughts. And what I want to say to you is this, that there's never been a better time to be a woman or to be an entrepreneur. There are so many opportunities for starting businesses that just weren't possible years ago. And it's because we have this infinite global world where we have endless resources that we can tap into and endless opportunities to create businesses that connect people all over the world that just simply weren't possible before. The thing is, you've devoted your entire life, your number one goal, to raise your family, to provide a stable, comfortable life. I did exactly the same thing, and I was able to create a fairly stable, comfortable life. But it was also a life that I wasn't in charge of, and it was a life where I was completely in debt. At the point that my company sold and reorganized and I started my business, I was almost $300,000 in debt. I was stressed out, I was physically and mentally exhausted and totally burned out and had not one clue how to turn that around. Within 12 months of starting my consulting business, I was completely debt-free. And that created a whole new kind of financial freedom for me and allowed me to see so many other opportunities. And one of the opportunities that I saw, and from working with business coaches and mentors, one of the opportunities I saw was to create elite women in business. And I do that as my passion project because I want to have an impact. I want to help you create the kind of success and the kind of life and build the kind of business that I've built. One that lights you up inside, that fulfills your purpose and fills you up with passion, and you look forward to Mondays instead of dreading Mondays. So for me, Elite Women in Business is a community of women over 40 who are burned out in their professional career, and they're in that phase of life where the family has grown up and matured, and they're all out creating their own independent lives, and it's now your time. It's your time to create your life and to take that brilliant idea that you have for a business and to build on a strong foundation that can allow you to also have financial freedom and time freedom and personal freedom. And I can tell you that it will be a hard decision. It will be scary, but it's also so incredibly exciting to know that you're creating something from the ground up that's going to impact so many people. So for me, Elite Women in Business is a community that I want you to be involved in. And I know this community is right for you, and I know that this idea is right for you, or you wouldn't still be with me watching this video. Something that I've said has resonated with you. You see yourself in my story because I also see me in your story. And I was exactly where you are 2 years ago. And I have been able to take my business idea and turn it into exactly the kind of life that I want to live. And I want that same thing for you. And I know that it's absolutely possible for you. But really what I wanted to do today was connect with you where you are and show you what's possible and show you what Elite Women in Business has to offer you, which is this. It is one-on-one or group coaching services to meet you where you are today and to help you get clarity on that business idea so that you can build this brilliant business and have this life that you've always dreamed of. And it's about having support and accountability and resources and education all along that way so that you're not terrified of those prospects and those opportunities. It's having someone there to guide you through the process that's been there, that understands where you are and can help you get to the point of launching that business out into the world and having this life that you absolutely love, that inspires you every day. So I hope that you will take this opportunity to become engaged in this community of Elite Women in Business, and I'm really glad that you're here today.